Your second stimulus check will be coming in August, but will another check be coming just weeks later? Hey, good evening, everybody. This is LALATE, and thank you for joining us for Evenings LALATE, our new series that debuts today that features two programs in the evening. First, the check, especially if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, or Railroad benefits, and EIDL grants and loans. Big news about the check today, especially with the confusion about whether this is the last check or just a check this month. On the weekend, Steve Mnuchin said that he sees the likelihood of a third, fourth, and fifth stimulus package going forward, that he doesn't think that this is the final stimulus package or final stimulus check. It's ironic because only weeks earlier, Mitch McConnell said this was the last and final stimulus package, but the economy has changed, the pandemic has changed. So will there be more stimulus checks, and will President Trump use stimulus checks as a way to get reelected? Here's the interesting rub right off the bat. If you're watching this channel and you're new to the channel, understand that a second stimulus check is coming to you in August. Steve Mnuchin explained overnight new timelines that we had never heard before. First, that he thinks that the stimulus package debate will be resolved by this Friday. Really quite shocking, because we had always talked about August 7th or 8th or 9th, which is next Friday, not this Friday, as a resolution. He wants the entire debate done by Friday for the entire stimulus package, and in the Oval Office for signature by the president the following Monday, so that a stimulus check or funds will land in your account in August, starting just days later. The arrival of the funds will come by electronic means, the Treasury Secretary confirmed to news again today. If electronic means is the manner in which you have things set up, especially if you're on benefits. So if you are on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, or Railroad benefits and receive your payments every month by either debit card or electronic deposit, then you would be one of the earliest recipients of the funds, just potentially days later, according to Steve Mnuchin. If you receive your benefits by paper check, you would be later in the waiting process. Moreover, if you're not on benefits, but the IRS knows your banking account information because either you provided it due to the first stimulus check, or because you pay the IRS or get refunds from the IRS into a bank account, then you would be one of the earliest recipients of the stimulus funds just in a few days after the package is approved. Now, earlier today on Mornings LALATE, which is a bombshell, a really blockbuster viewed show. Thank you for tuning in. Enormous numbers for today. We'll be doing it again tomorrow morning around 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I explained that overnight there's new indications of a lot of changes from the Republicans on their positions. First, the big movement apparently, allegedly, is that the Republicans are now willing to concede $1,200 checks to dependents. As you know, there are different steps and different amounts that the two sides have proposed. Both sides, first of all, propose non-dependents $1,200 check, single check. They both agree upon that. Then there's the issue about dependents. They both agree dependents will get a check, whether they're adult dependents or minor dependents. That's a great change, because under the first stimulus package, only minor dependents got a stimulus check and adult dependents didn't get one. They weren't eligible. Well, both sides agree that adult dependents should get a second stimulus check. The question is how much. The Republicans proposed $500. The Democrats proposed $1,200. New indications overnight allege that the Republicans are moving on that and are willing to do $1,200. There's also a lot of discussions about movement on hazard pay, which was the topic of our discussion of one of our videos in Afternoons with LALATE, and movement. And actually, just an hour ago, the President of the United States LALATE says he wants a rent eviction moratorium in the second stimulus package. We had that in our rent bill, which is really quite shocking because he didn't include it himself. It's not written there, but now he says he wants it in there. But how about the check? So one of the, I got to tell you, I'm laughing, but it's just literally like there's 900 people asking the same exact question. Earlier today when we debuted the check video, within just 5 minutes, 10 different people asked the same question. Will child support be taken out of a second stimulus check? Current proposals say no. And I got to tell you, I'm answering this 5 minutes into this video. I expect at least 34 more comments to this video asking the same question. No, both proposals say so far that it won't be taken out. Now, ultimately, we just don't know. It could get changed. It could get modified. But those are the current proposals. A lot of things are just going screwy at the moment. Also, earlier today, I detailed on Afternoons with LALATE that the $600 from the federal government of FPUC is more likely to get extended than the $200 for a lot of different reasons. That's in that video. You dropped 1,303 comments to yesterday's video about SSDI, SSI, and Social Security, especially the check. I'll be getting to those shortly. But one of the questions that I saw a lot today, not to yesterday's video, but today was, will there be multiple checks? Well, first of all, let me make something very, very clear. There won't be multiple checks arriving in the month of August. You're getting one check. And additionally, I want to make very, very clear that you're not receiving a first and a second check in August. So if you did not receive a first check, it's not coming with the second check. You only get a second check in August. Now, if you are eligible for a first check and didn't receive it and have now fixed the situation, or the IRS is fixing the situation, it may arrive in August, but it won't arrive with the second stimulus check. Next, the question of whether there are multiple checks going forward. Steve Mnuchin has left that open. He has literally said that he is open and the White House is open for further stimulus packages beyond July 31st. The question is, how soon? Here's the interesting rub. The president gets a lot of benefit politically in the polls every time a stimulus check is issued. And he is clearly aware of that. What's going on this week is the following. In the battleground states and the swing states, the spread of percentage points between Biden and Trump is about 3%. Ironically, when the first stimulus check was sent out that month, the president's approval rating went up about 3 to 5%. So the president's clearly aware that when sending out the second stimulus check in August, he's going to get a bump, which will probably align him one-on-one with Biden in some states. The question is whether he'll do it again with another stimulus check come September or October to make that give himself an additional 3%. Many analysts think that the political race is so close that come September, October, it could be a dead heat. And that issuing another check and having it land in the citizens of America's pockets right minutes before they go into the polling place could make the difference of 2 to 3 percentage points in voting. It's really quite interesting. So it's something you need to understand. If ultimately the president does not get reelected, what will happen come October? Could you still get second, third, or fourth stimulus checks from a Democratic president or from a newly Democratic-led Congress? Yes, there's a lot of indications that these bodies that are trying to push themselves into new seats or into the White House want to issue additional stimulus checks come this fall or winter when they come into office, and that is certainly in in the possibilities. But for now, what you need to understand is that there's only one check coming to you now in August. There's no check coming in September, and there's no check coming for the retroactive benefits of unpaid months, which you were owed earlier this spring. So let me get to some of your incredible questions. Marilyn says they should be giving us $5,000 for the 4 months we lost. Very well said. Sandra, praying for everyone that's suffering financially. Cindy, that's because they're heartless and don't care about the people. Very well said. Carol, what happens when they get sick and nurses and doctors decide they don't want to risk their lives or their families anymore? That's a question about hazard pay, which I detailed in today's video. Really, really on point. Thank you for that comment. Benita, I'm so sick of the damn government and their games they play. You know, there's a lot of very clear games in the second stimulus package. Among the games are, one, a federal building for $3 billion for the FBI that has nothing to do with COVID-19, 100% tax deductions for going to restaurants at the end of the year. I mean, that's fine if you want to do that, but that has nothing to do with COVID-19. So there's a lot of corporate payoff stuff in this bill that doesn't have to be there. If you think it's valid, well, it could be done in a separate bill. But to hold up this bill and hold up your checks is unwarranted. Luz Gonzalez, oh my God, restaurants. How are they going to spend the money in restaurants when there's no money to spend in the restaurants? Trump lied to America about generous and large. Ronald Verosa, yes. The president has really not done well for himself over the last 2 weeks with the stimulus package. First, he said that the Democrats' proposal of $1,200 was not enough. He said it was not enough. And he said that he was going to offer a generous amount more than $1,200. Well, he didn't, and he actually offered less. He offered $500 for dependents, not $1,200 for dependents. So why was the Democrats' proposal not fine 2 weeks ago, and now it's actually fine for the Republicans to offer less than the Democrats? Not very clear. What's equally not clear is why this president's team on Sunday, Larry Kudlow and Steve Mnuchin, said on broadcast news that their bill will have an eviction moratorium and that the bill is ready, but when it was delivered on Monday to press and debuted to the American public, it wasn't in there. And then today the president says that his eviction moratorium program is better than the Democrats when he doesn't have one in the second stimulus package from the Republicans. It's a little confusing as to what's going on with this group. Does anyone actually read what they're writing over there? Screw the People is the screen name. 39. Yes, Stephen, yeah, we're getting screwed. The difference is the rich people getting the check so they can cut the lower class people. Wanda Korn. This is why. Is this what they wanted for the rich this time? I don't like it. It's a big payoff for the rich, the second stimulus package. Kimberly, when election comes, you just have to go with what you think is the lesser of two evils. Sherry Clark, oh God, get ready for nationwide riots. This is what you need to understand going into the later part of this week, and this is what's going to be happening. I will be updating you as to where the groups are negotiating. And I want you to understand a few things because these aren't inherently clear to most American citizens. First, what we currently have here are proposals. They're not bills, they're not laws, they haven't been voted upon, they haven't been approved anywhere. For any bill to pass, it has to pass from both the House and the Senate. Currently, the Republicans' bill hasn't even passed anything. It hasn't even passed go. It's in the Senate. It hasn't passed the Senate. It isn't in the House. Hasn't passed the House. What happens when you have two conflicting bills, which you do, heroes and heels, the two bills are merged together potentially and then negotiated together and then ratified by both the Senate and the House. That's likely where we're going. About 5 days ago, Mitch McConnell said he didn't want to go there. He said he wanted to have a lot of different bills. It would take a lot of different weeks. They're not doing that. So they're clearly combining the two bills. They admit they're combining the two bills. Since Monday, this is Wednesday afternoon, since Monday, Steve Mnuchin and Mike Meadows, who's this week's chief of staff until he gets hired and they hire someone else again, just a revolving door there, are the two negotiating forces for the Republicans. Very, very clear. The Democrats are Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. It is only 4 people in the room negotiating. Mitch is not invited, if you're asking. He's just not there. So there's 4 people, and they're negotiating about 2 times a day. They're in the morning, they're in the afternoon, sometimes a third time per day. There is no one else there. And that's what's very important here, is that there's a lot of other Democrats out there and a lot of other Republicans out there that said they don't like what their party is doing. There's a ton of Republicans that came out today and said they don't like the HEALS Act. There's a lot of Democrats out there that say they want more stuff in the stimulus package. They don't think it goes far enough. Ultimately, it's hard to say what's going to happen if these four people in that room agree upon something and the people outside that room don't. But it's quite interesting. So both houses have to approve the ultimate bill, and then it goes to the White House for signature. Likely, the president will sign whatever Steve Mnuchin has already been negotiating for over the last few days. But how fast and how quickly, and will something create an impasse during the negotiations? Well, there's that guy again. The guy from Kentucky, Mitch McConnell, has literally said that he will block any vote unless he has one deadlocked provision, or that's not a correct expression, one mandatory provision. If he doesn't get his mandatory provision, he says he's absolutely killing everything in this bill. Really crazy. It's just crazy talk. Now, what is this mandatory provision and how wonderful is it? It's about as crazy and bad a provision as you can have. And he says he's going to kill the bill if he doesn't get his way. The mandatory provision is that a business owner cannot be sued for COVID-19 if an employee gets COVID-19 unless the employer acts in an intentional act. I'm paraphrasing, making it simple for you, which is basically the employer has to sneeze on you on purpose. And if they don't, then you can't sue them. It's really quite crazy, and a lot of people are already saying it's crazy. But here we go. A lot of great positive, informative, and progressive news of progress with these groups. Very inspiring and very hopeful. I want you to stay with me. It's going to be a lot of twists and turns. Join me tomorrow morning on Mornings LA Late about 8:30, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will have more updates as well. And coming up later tonight, EIDL. As always, stay informed, stay educated. Have a great evening, and thank you for joining us for Evenings LA Late.